So back to Il Joven Turles. Without knowing, I had found my theme. I found out that literature could be very helpful to articulate myself. I didn't dare writing. I wrote 2 or 3 short stories, like everybody else, out of an unhappy love in school. And I mean, I had read enough books to say and to see that my stuff was not up there. So, as Mark Twain says, you know, we wonder why anybody would write a book for weeks and months when you can buy one for 15 cents at every street corner. This is my inclination for literature. It was the lazy way out. All of a sudden here I found articulate things that I could share, and it sometimes made a connection with what I had lived. So the first was the literature. The second was the connection with your own experience. And the own experience was sharing the life in a boarding school, whether that was in France with the Jesuits or had been for Robert Musil in a military school in Austria before the First World War. That doesn't make any difference. You know, you put 200 kids together, you know, in a boarding school and where they cut off from the rest of the grown-ups, you will find these same dynamics as you find later in society. And thirdly, I had found with the subject of young Turles a political meaning to a subject that apparently had none. It was just a group of brutal boys who were torturing another boy, apparently for sheer pleasure, but in reality to get more power over the rest of the class. And that there was one boy, the one who was telling the story, he had not partaken in any of this violence. He'd just been the witness. He was just curious to see how far they would go. He was the intellectual, maybe the artist, until he thought, now this is enough. And he wanted to stop at some moment the brutality against this boy victim. And it was too late. Just by having assisted, even as a spectator, he was part of the group. And there was no way that all of a sudden he could say they did, because he was always there. And that was pretty much, if you want, a metaphor for what intellectuals and artists and well-cultured people had done in Germany during the Nazi time. Let these brutal Nazis do it. Someday they will be stopped. Well, when they wanted them to stop them, it was too late. So these, I think, were, with young Turles, the 3 things that I've found easy with is literature, as a help to articulate own experience. Third, with a political conscience. The political conscience came mostly from my staying in Paris. It was the last colonial war of the French in Algeria. They already had lost Indochina. And there was a lot of talk about the torture by the French soldiers in Algeria to obtain information from Arabs, from Felagas they had caught.